All right, today we're diving into a book that will probably turn everything you think you know about mental health completely on its head. We're talking about Abraham Maslow's incredible work, The Psychology of Being, and we're going to explore what he thought it really means to be a fully, truly alive human being.
So let's just start with this quote from Maslow, because it immediately shakes up our entire definition of mental health. He asks, in Auschwitz, who was healthy? Just pause and think about that for a second. In one of the most horrific situations imaginable, who's the truly well person? The one with a clear conscience, or the one who's completely torn apart by guilt, anger, and despair? It's a question that just forces you to rethink everything.
And that question leads us right to Maslow's most central, most radical idea. What if being sick isn't about having certain symptoms, but about lacking the symptoms you absolutely should have in a given situation? In a messed up world, maybe feeling fine, maybe having that clear conscience, well, maybe that's the real illness. It just completely flips the script on conventional psychology. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start by talking about this new definition of health. Then, we'll get into the two core motivations that drive all of us. From there, we'll explore those incredible peak experiences, meet the ideal self-actualizing person, and finally, see how all these ideas could help us build a much better society.
Okay, first up, redefining mental health. This is all about moving past that really simple idea that if you're not technically sick, then you must be well. For Maslow, that is nowhere near the whole story.
You see, Maslow looked at his own field and basically said, hey, we've got a problem here. He argued that psychology was just obsessed with what's broken in people. You know, all the neuroses, the pathologies. So instead of only studying people who were struggling, he asked a revolutionary question. What about the best of us? What can we learn from people who are exceptionally healthy, fulfilled, and thriving? He wanted to build a psychology of human potential.
And that massive shift in focus from sickness to potential, well, it leads us directly to one of Maslow's most foundational ideas, the two types of motivation that shape pretty much our entire lives: deficiency versus growth.
All right, so this distinction is absolutely crucial. On one side, you've got deficiency motivation. This is pretty straightforward. It's about filling a hole. You're hungry, so you eat. You feel unsafe, you find shelter. You're lonely, you look for affection. It's all about getting rid of tension. But then, there's growth motivation. And this is a whole different ballgame. It isn't about fixing a deficit. It's about this inner pull towards becoming everything you can be. It's the pure joy of just developing your talents and reaching for your potential.
This brings us to a fantastic term Maslow came up with: functionalist. I love this word. It's not the simple pleasure you get from satisfying a need, like scratching an itch. No, this is that deep, satisfying joy you feel when you're at the absolute peak of your powers. Think of a musician completely lost in a performance, or a programmer in that perfect state of flow, or an athlete who just perfectly nails a difficult move. That is functionalist.
And you can see this difference so clearly when he applies it to love. There's D-love, deficiency love. This is a kind of love hunger. It's about needing someone to make you feel complete, to fill a void. But then there's B-love, being love. And this isn't about what you can get. It's about admiring the very being of the other person. It's a totally unselfish love that wants them to grow and reach their fullest potential.
And now we get to one of Maslow's most famous concepts, the peak experience. These are those rare, almost magical moments in life where everything just clicks.
So what is a peak experience? Well, it's a moment of pure, intense joy and wonder. It's when you feel totally whole, profoundly alive, and deeply connected to the world, maybe even the entire universe. In these moments, your ego just kind of seems to dissolve and you just are. It could happen while you're watching a beautiful sunset, getting lost in music, or in a moment of deep connection with another person.
During these moments, Maslow found that people perceive the world through what he called being-cognition. Reality isn't just a collection of neutral facts anymore. It becomes infused with these higher values, things like goodness, truth, and beauty. The world suddenly feels whole, alive, and somehow both perfectly simple and infinitely rich all at once.
And what about time? Oh, time gets really weird during a peak experience. Our normal sense of it completely warps. As Maslow says here, a single minute can feel so intense that it's like a day or even a year has gone by. It's a strange paradox where time feels like it's standing perfectly still while also flowing by incredibly fast.
So, who are the people most likely to have these amazing peak experiences? Well, that brings us to the very pinnacle of Maslow's theory, the self-actualizing person.
A self-actualizer is someone who is actively, consciously realizing their own unique potential. They aren't just shaped by their culture or what other people expect of them. They're autonomous. They listen to their own inner nature and they're guided by their own values. Essentially, they're living by the laws of their own character, not just the rules of society.
And I think this quote just captures it perfectly. It says, "A crab would be personally outraged if it knew we classified it as a crustacean. It would say, 'I am not such a thing. I am myself, only myself.'" And that's the core of the self-actualizer. They resist being put in a box. They refuse to be reduced to a simple stereotype. They insist on their unique, individual existence.
So finally, Maslow didn't just stop with the individual. He scaled all of these ideas up to imagine what a psychologically healthy society would look like. And he called this vision eupsychia.
Eupsychia was his term for a psychologically healthy society. He posed it as a kind of thought experiment. What if you put 1,000 self-actualizing people together on a sheltered island? What kind of culture would they create? The core idea is a society that is specifically designed to maximize human growth, where what's good for the individual and what's good for the whole community are one and the same.
And this isn't just some utopian fantasy. Maslow saw real-world ways to apply this in what he called Eupsychian management. It's all about asking, how do you design a workplace or a school or any organization so that what's good for the individual, their growth, their creativity, their well-being is also what's best for the organization? The goal is to create this amazing synergy where the individual's goals and the group's goals just merge and amplify each other.
And that leaves us with a final, really crucial question to think about. If we take Maslow's vision seriously, what in our own world, in our jobs, our schools, our communities, what could be redesigned, not just for efficiency, not just for profit, but to help every single person reach their fullest, most vibrant potential?